The real reason you're offended. Other people have no power to offend you. You offend yourself with your beliefs. I'm going to read this article, but I hope that you will look at the pictures below, and there's links in there as well, so click on those links to learn more. This post was written on June 4th, 2021 on my Law of Attraction Life Coaching blog. I reposted it on my Law of Attraction Substack as above below LOA, but I wanted to add audio and post this on the drama of it all, because this is a major form of responsibility shifting. The drama triangle only works when you responsibility shift. If you take personal responsibility for your thoughts and emotions, you'll feel powerful to change things and won't be pointing the finger at a so-called persecutor or offender. If you make it someone else's responsibility and claim other people can offend you, then you are choosing to be a willful slave to those people. Other people have no power to offend you. There is a commonly held belief that other people can offend you. In this article, I'm going to discuss why that is not the case, which might anger you or relieve you. If you want there to be a scapegoat for why you get mad, rather than to take personal responsibility for getting upset, then you won't like the idea that no one can offend you. If, however, you want to live a life in which you never get offended because you would be happier, then you would be relieved to hear that this is possible. A formula for getting offended. For those of you listening, I used letters like A, B, C, and X, Y, Z in this formula, so just keep that in mind when I say Y. I mean the letter Y, not the word why. Mr. X says Y. Ms. A believes Y, and so she feels an emotional boost because someone else agrees with her. Ms. B does not believe Y. In fact, Ms. B gets offended because she thinks believing Y makes you a bad person. Ms. B gets offended while Ms. A does not. There may also be a Miss C who might simply not care what others believe at all, in the sense that she's emotionally indifferent or detached when hearing various perspectives. Miss C may care to hear different beliefs because she cares for people and their individual life stories, but understands everyone has different perspectives. She tries to understand why they believe the way they do in order to understand and relate to them, but she doesn't take others' beliefs personally. Because some people do not get offended when hearing Mr. X say why, we know for certain that Mr. X did not say something inherently offensive. The definition of offensive is something that causes the listener to feel insulted, angered, annoyed, etc. If some people can listen to what's said and not feel insulted, angered, or annoyed, then what was said is not inherently offensive. Something else, besides what's said, is causing Ms. B to feel offended. Why do people get offended? People get offended because of their personal beliefs about the activating life event or action, A, that occurred. In this example, the activating life event, A, is that Mr. X said Y. Ms. B had a belief, B, that anyone who says or believes Y is a bad person. And the consequence, C, was that she got offended from hearing it. I do hope you will look at the image in the article because there's an A, B, C column here that shows different events in the A category and then different beliefs in the B category, and then C are the consequences. This is called the ABCs of cognitive behavioral therapy. Ms. A and Ms. C did not have that belief, so they were not offended. Thus, the root cause of becoming offended is the negative belief that a person holds. Here's an interesting real-world example of how this works and why it's obvious that the offense is not from the activating life event or action, A. Imagine a plane has flown above you and left a trail of white in the blue sky. For this example, that is the action, A, that occurred. Ms. B believes, that's B, that there are chemtrails, and she believes that the chemicals in the sky are going to harm her, her family, and her animals who play and lay in the grass. Ms. A believes, B, that these are chemtrails, and she believes, B, that the chemicals are good and that the people spreading them are trying to protect us. Side note, I have literally heard both of these explanations. I'm not making that last one up. Ms. C believes, B, that these are just contrails, and she believes, B, that they are harmless and nothing to even think about or consider. The emotional consequences, C, of that would be that Ms. B would feel offended that the planes are spraying harmful chemicals into the air that are harming her and her family, in her belief. Ms. A would not feel offended, but would be happy that people are out there trying to protect us. Ms. C would not give it a second thought and be neutral. The plane is not offending Ms. B at all. Ms. B's beliefs about the plane leaving white behind it are why she is offended when seeing it. If she had a different belief, then she would not be offended. With cognitive behavioral therapy and other techniques, you can change your beliefs. How strong your beliefs are determine your happiness/disgust response. Your happiness levels will drop or raise proportionately to how strong your beliefs are, whether positive or negative. If you hear someone say something that you believe to be slightly wrong, you will get a little upset. If you think someone said something that is extremely bad, then you will be very upset. For those of you listening, I've got a graph here of emotional response on the bottom, and it goes from little to large. And on the side, on the left side, it says beliefs about why, and little beliefs to strong beliefs up on top. And so at the bottom, if you have a little belief and a little emotional response, you'll get a pet peeve, maybe about slow drivers, getting slightly upset when you're behind one. If you've got a really large emotional response and a really strong belief about something like racism, if you really hate racism, you get extremely upset when seeing it. If you believe someone said something right, but don't care, or just don't feel strongly about that topic, you might not get any happier, or only slightly happier to hear it. But if someone says something that you feel very strongly about in a good way, then you will be very happy to hear it. Perhaps someone who you are attracted to just said they like the way you look. If you have beliefs that that is a very good thing because it means your chances of hooking up are higher, then you will be very happy to hear it. If you are not interested in them and they said they like the way you look, you might be slightly happy to hear that, but not care nearly as much as you would if you were attracted to them. Myriad perceptions. Every single person has a different perception, and those perceptions change through time. There are plenty of things I have heard in the past that have offended me. However, I have changed my beliefs, thus my perceptions, and they don't offend me anymore. I perceive them neutrally rather than negatively now. Because being offended is all about your beliefs, and because you have power over your mind, then you have the power to never be offended. It might not be easy to change those beliefs, but it is possible. Do you feel better knowing that you can't be offended unless you let yourself be through your beliefs? Or do you want to be offended? Some people stuck in the drama triangle, in the victim mentality or savior role, want to be offended on behalf of themselves or others. It's a good idea to be mindful of how this article made you feel. If you want to start working on your beliefs today, question them. If you have a belief that there are chemtrails, for example, question whether someone is doing it to help people rather than to harm them. The same goes for beliefs about vaccines and Trump, a couple of rather explosive topics. There is nothing wrong with questioning your beliefs. You may decide that you were right in the end, but the questioning is always preferable to just accepting an old, limiting belief unquestionably. Yes, sometimes people actually try to harm others, cause offense, etc. But you know what? If you aren't offended, you take away what they're after. The end result, if you don't let yourself get offended, is that you feel better, which is awesome, and that they don't get what they're after. Living well is the best revenge. George Herbert. When you feel better, rather than offended or angry, you can think of new solutions to problems, make more money, and live a more satisfying life. That's from the Happiness Advantage, and there's a link in my article for that. Yes, if you are happy, you will get sick less often and stay sick for a shorter period of time. Even if someone was trying to make you sick for whatever reason, not being offended or angry would give your immune system a boost so you can counter anything coming at you. And I left a link to The Body and the World Was Designed to Heal Itself, an article from my Law of Attraction Substack. Choosing to not be offended is the best gift you can give yourself. So next time you feel offended, question why you got upset. Be mindful about it. And rather than engaging in an argument about it with someone else, take time for yourself to feel your emotions and heal yourself. And there's also a link to Cleaning the World, What Can I Do? That is an article on my Law of Attraction Substack if you want to check that out. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to give it a like if you liked it, and comment below if you've had any thoughts about this. Thanks.